this up here.
I'm talking about straining for that logo on the side of your helmet and not the name on your back.
Yes, sir.
Because we know what it represents. It represents everybody here you see and everybody you can't that we've talked about. I'm here to strain with you, man. I swear to God, I'm here to strain with you. Let's go. Everything you got, strain with everything you got. Let's go. Bills on 3. 1, 2, 3. Bills.
You're listening to the Off Tackle with John Fina show with your host, Joe Miller. Well, what is going on, everybody? Welcome into the Off Tackle with John Fina show, brought to you by Q42 on the Buffalo Rumblings vidcast and podcast network. My name is Joe Miller, host of the show, here alongside my friend, as always, the big man, John Fina. John, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing great, Joe Miller. How you doing?
Co-starring Mimi Fina in the background, handing John all of his refreshments. we missed the pop there. You did it quiet. What? There it is, the pop of the can. So good to have everybody with us. We got a special guest this evening. Rueben Brown is going to be joining the show, former Buffalo Bill, former Chicago Bear. But before that, we want to talk about Q42 real quick. And John, I know that you love Q42, and you know that I love Q42. And we also know that a bunch of people have been ordering Q42 because of this show, which has been really great. But what makes Q42 barbecue sauce different from the rest? Well, as you always say, it's made right here in Western New York, with Western New York honey and real ingredients, not like weird chemical ingredients and crazy stuff. Even the ketchup and mustard is made from scratch by the makers, the owners of Q42. Where the other guys add fillers like high fructose corn syrup and stuff like that, Q42 puts the time and effort to cook up a sauce worthy of the most serious tailgate. The KC sauce is a crowd pleaser. The Carolina is a mustard lover's match. Go to Q42barbecue.com to get yours and enter the code, as we like to do, yell it, Fina Show,
yo,
to save 15%. Love that Q42. It's cool to see it popping up on Twitter as well, like all over the place. People like throwing it on the grill and stuff like that. So go get yourself some Q42 barbecue sauce. John, you feeling good?
I'm feeling good, man. I'm feeling good. Got the win, Victory Monday. It
is Victory Monday. Happy Victory Monday to everybody. You ready to bring on the man, the myth, and the legend?
I am. We're fortunate. Joe and I, my good buddy Rueben Brown joins the show, and I got to tell you, it was a privilege to play with Rueben, to develop our just integration as a guard tackle combo together over the years. Rueben and I could communicate just with eyes and hand signals, and we made the game a lot of fun. And if you don't know Rueben very well, Ruben's got a big heart. He's a big old teddy bear. Tells it like it is, not afraid to share his feelings, and that's why he and I have been close ever since during the playing days and after, and probably my closest friend from the playing days. And I just want to say thanks, Rueben, for joining us, and we're looking forward to hearing some of your stories and what you feel about Buffalo, the team, and what it's like, going where you're going, where so few get into that rare air of the Hall of Fame we're expecting. So joining the show right now, my brother, Rueben Brown.
Thank you, guys. I really appreciate you having me. And John, I can't even begin to tell you thank you for all those kind words. And to hear you say them actually gets me a little choked up, because I'm very fond, Joe, I'm very fond of this guy. John Fina is my number one guy. I really, we have a real, I have a man crush on him, I have to say. He's a totally handsome guy, but other than that, I'm attracted to his intelligence.
You'd be the only one.
I totally love his family, and John's right. We hit it off. We definitely hit it off, and I think we hit it off mainly because I was a curious guy, and John was willing to impart wisdom. He wasn't selfish. He was definitely very giving of his time and his energy, and just I think it was just so mutual. It's like someone was looking for answers, and there was someone willing to give the answers, and that was the two of us, and I fell in love with him, and it made it so easy, so easy, amazingly easy for me to play my position and do my job, and I really I say this. Your team, your group is better when the teammates are really intertwined with each other and really get to know each other. Like John alluded to the fact that when we played together, we could communicate. We had worked together so much that we didn't even need to use anything verbal. We could literally see the same thing. I knew what he was gonna do.
Nice.
I knew what he was gonna do, and he knew if I was about to make a mistake. You know what I mean? Because he knew who I was. He knew the things that would set me off or make me lose my focus, and he knew that those things were about to happen. And likewise, I was so confident that if guys moved around in front of us and tried to give us a difficult look or something like that, we didn't even have to. I just look at John or John to give me a little hand signal, and we were like, yeah, we got it. We didn't even have to talk, and we had it, and we did it well. I'm gonna tell you, there's not many guys that did it as long as we did and as well as we did it. And I'm honestly so proud to have played with him, and we had a blast.
Yeah, we
We
did,
just
man.
had a
We
blast.
made each other
We had
better.
fun.
We saved each other's hindsides a few times, and we celebrated all the time.
Yeah.
So
It's
thanks, Ruben.
it's funny because
Yeah.
everything that you just said about him wanting to teach, wanting to help, wanting to educate is exactly what he does on this show. And I don't suspect or expect that you've
Yeah.
watched a lot of these episodes, but the fans of Buffalo love him because he's basically making the game palatable to them through this show. But I love just what you were talking about being together. John made us aware that there might be an NFL record out there for you two being the longest tenured left tackle and left guard to have played together in the NFL, like maybe possibly in NFL history, 7 years, right? So with that, it's interesting to me to know that in 7 years, like you said, you kind of grew up under John, and John was there to help you, and you obviously helped him. But what was that transition like? Like the first time you went to when you went to Chicago and John wasn't there, was that awkward?
It was very tough. It was very tough because I had to then, I would say, learn a whole nother group of people and understand their, how they worked or what they had to do. And in the way to find these things out aren't always on the field. You don't necessarily just go to practice and I figure out who this guy is next to me. I really get to know him when we go out to dinner. We sit next to, we go over to each other's houses, and I talk to him. I get to know about his family, and a lot of those little things, teach me how to interact with them, or what's important to them, or what their value system is, so that I know where to input myself or where I need to step back. And so John really taught me that. It was difficult in Chicago to make that try. It really was difficult. The most difficult time for me actually was the year that John left Buffalo. When he left Buffalo, I was really struggling. I really had a hard time, even really coming in and working with the other players, because I was spoiled. I'm like working with these guys. You don't know that? I'm like, why don't you know that? You're supposed to know these things. I'm like, John knew this, and then like John's not here. I'm like, well, go get John then.
They shifted. You're supposed to
So
make a hand signal. You
I
didn't
had
make the
a
hand
tough time.
signal. Like, where's the hand signal?
Exactly.
Ruben and I would be in the huddle, and
So
we would.
I
Ruben and I would be in the huddle, and we wouldn't look at the quarterback. We just listen, and we just stare at the defensive front, and just see the way they're standing around, and see if they would give us tells. And every now and again, you get a tackle talking to an end, or a linebacker stepping up and jawing in one guy's ear, and then we just know, hey, there's a game coming. So we were always prepared. We had this. I would set in a way that kept me in the right relationship with Ruben. And I knew, depending on the guy's alignment on Ruben, if I had to set a little bit inside. And, we just connected on that front. And we talked technique all the time. We would give each other little, during the game, little pep talk reminders, the key points that, we talk about during the week. And, it was a privilege playing with you, brother.
Hands and feet, baby. Hands and
hands
feet.
and feet. Every play, hands and feet. That's what I'd say. hands and feet.
That was John before every game. Before every game, we go out there and, everyone gets lathered up and you're ready to go. Before we hit the field, right before we hit the field, you pat each other's shoulder pads and stuff like that. And John's thing was hands and feet, baby, hands and feet. And I always, that was my thing with John, hands and feet. And I would say that to other linemen afterwards, and they're like, where'd you get that from? I was like, that's John. It's hands and feet, baby. Hands and feet.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, we are Super Chat Live.
I would also
hang on, Ruben, 2 seconds. So this is a question for you. This first Super Chat comes from Brian Bowers, who's a super good friend of the show. And John, you were on a show with Brian last week. But Brian says, John and Ruben, we need help on the offensive line. If the Mafia donates, how much would it take to get you guys to suit up next week?
That'll be the day.
I always say whenever anybody says that, I always say #catastrophe. I mean, I got about half a play in me, and he better weigh about 200 pounds and run like an 8-second 40-yard dash, because otherwise, yeah.
That's
hey, we you know what? We love the love.
Warwick done.
DUN finished. Joe and Brian, we love the love, but we're both realists, and the game passed us by, and now it's a couple of cocktails and the truest memories, the best memories we can eke out of our gray matter. That's what we're here for today. Talk about Ruben's experience. I lived in the city of Buffalo, and Ruben, you live down south, and I know that some of the best times when you would come up and hang out with me and get that flavor of Buffalo, and I know that you came to appreciate it. Was it a completely different feel out in Chicago? I mean, as far as cities and fan bases go, what was your relationship with Chicago as opposed to Buffalo?
I will have to tell you guys that Chicago and Buffalo, they're relatives. If they're not cousins, they're brothers. It's very similar. Chicago's just larger, but Chicago isn't so much a city as you would look. You look at Manhattan, that's a city. You think about city. Chicago's a city, but it has a feel of a town. You know what I mean? It has more of I don't want to say suburban feel, but it is somewhat of that. And Chicago and Buffalo are very family oriented. It's all about your community, your family, and they're very tight knit. They stick up for each other. Buffalo and Chicago are identical twins almost. I mean, it's the same place. Literally, if it snows in Chicago, a day later it's going to snow in Buffalo. If it rains in Chicago, it's going to rain a day later in Buffalo. And I know this for a fact because I lived in both places. And while I was in Chicago, I would call back to Buffalo and they'd say, it's raining today. I was like, it just rained yesterday here. So it's the same.
It sounds like misery for
And
everyone.
I had a blast. Oh, totally. It's brutal. The
That's
cold
awesome.
is brutal. The cold is brutal when you get older. When I was young, Buffalo Bill player, the cold did not bother me. I did not have a problem with it. But by the time I was my last days in Chicago, oh, I was an angry, grumpy old man because the cold was not my friend. I only needed cold for therapy, not to live in it every day.
Hey, let's hit that
So
super chat, and then
Chicago was a good spot.
I want to ask Ruben a question just about that. So let's pull that Eric Farrell up. Hey, Ruben, you're looking svelte. What
Yeah.
weight are you running at these days? I remember a guy who was a lot more bear than teddy bear.
Yes, that is true. So Ruben has decided to lighten the load. I decided to throw quite a few chairs off the Titanic. I am down to 235 right now. And
I'm
yes,
230.
that is,
I'm 230 pounds. Wow.
I'm 235. And the holiday season's here, so I'll be back up to 240 soon.
Nice.
So I'll be eating quite a few cookies and stuff.
So Ruben,
But
I
decided to get into it.
I got a question for you.
Yo,
So I know that, I left Buffalo and I had one season with Arizona, and I got to the end of that season. They didn't ask me back, so my career was ostensibly over. But I also there was just a feeling like I just felt like my body was done. Like I couldn't go anymore. Did you get that sort of hallmark, like you hit the end, like you can't recover as fast, your energy's not as great, things are aching, and you're just like, I think I've physically hit it. If I pushed it, I'm probably going to be in some real physical trouble.
I started feeling like parts of that when I first went to Chicago. I started to know my age, so I had to play smarter. But there was I had some inspiration out there. Guys kind of rejuvenated me. Olin Kreutz rejuvenated me while I was there. And the strength and conditioning coach, Clyde Emmerich, rejuvenated me. He introduced me to power cleaning, and which I never did in my entire life until I worked with him, and they kind of kept the light burning. But the year that we went to the Super Bowl, and after that game was over, I came back the next year, and I just knew. I said, this can't go on much longer,
right?
And I really wanted to, give it a go because how much I enjoyed playing football, but I could tell it was done.
Gotcha.
The time was up. I was like, all right, if they don't call me, I'm not mad.
Yeah, right.
I'm not mad if they don't call
I
me.
remember saying the same thing.
Because I know
So
I don't have anything to really give them.
So Ruben, you played in the NFL for 13 seasons, 7 of them with the Buffalo Bills, 9 Pro Bowls. Talk about, before we're going to talk about the Buffalo Bills, this year's team, but before we do, talk about just for a second the feeling when you heard that you were on the short list to make the NFL Hall of Fame.
Oh, I don't know where to begin. Excited, elated, just all around happy and proud. And it's not so much for me, because I got my enjoyment. Trust me. I ran into guys, I blocked them. I could talk trash to some of the best players in the NFL and say, yeah, I kicked your butt. John Randall, I kicked his butt.
Right.
You know what I mean? Warren Sapp, I kicked his butt.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I don't need a Hall of Fame to tell me that I kicked Warren Sapp's butt. Warren Sapp knows I kicked his butt. But to have the organization of the Hall of Fame to put me on the list is just like, oh man, thank you. But it also is a thank you and appreciation, and I get happy for all the people that help me, help get my name there,
Yeah.
help put my name in the mix. My teammates, John Fina. I mean, I'm not there without playing next to John Fina.
Right.
You know what I mean? So when my name is mentioned, Rueben Brown comes up, they're going to have to research John Fina. They're going to have to say, hey, well, this guy played in Buffalo for X amount of years and he was good, but what was else around him? Well, look around him. John Fina was next to him. Kent Hall was his first center, you know what I mean? And then, all of the great, Thurman Thomas was his running back. So that goes into play. And then as you dig deeper into who Rueben Brown is and what he was, you'll find out all the different people that supported me and helped me become, the 9-time Pro Bowler. So the being acknowledged is really more for me. And when I hear it, it's more about the people around me that support the team that made the Rueben Brown. Rueben Brown did his part, but I really, it's more about the guys that helped Rueben Brown be who he was.
So you got 7.
Is that enough third person for you guys?
Great.
I love it.
7 years in Buffalo, 6 years in Chicago. You get to choose. Are you going in as a Buffalo Bill when you make it in, or you're going in as a Chicago Bear?
Oh man, it's up to them.
I hadn't thought about that.
Yeah. I don't care.
No, gotcha.
I don't care. I don't care. Either one would be fine with me, honestly. And if I went in as a Bear, the Bills would know that, what I did there. And if I went in as a Bill, the Bears would know, so it doesn't matter. It really doesn't. Because this situation for me is like kids. Which one of your kids is your favorite? Well, none of them really. I tell my kids all the time, I got 3 kids, and I said, none of you guys are my favorite. I said, but my first son is my favorite first son. My second son is my favorite second son. My daughter is my favorite daughter. So I got it covered. They're all my favorites. Yeah. You know what I mean?
I'm gonna ask a question. I'm gonna take a question from the comments section. This is for both of you. So, and John, if you want to go first, you can, and then Rueben, you can follow up. This is a great question. Can you guys talk about the difficulty of having to switch up from left tackle to right tackle, or even left guard to right guard and back? Because we've seen a lot of this. Cody Ford, Ike Butker, all these guys, Feliciano, have bounced back and forth. In this past weekend, we saw Spencer Brown go from right tackle to left tackle. Darrell Williams go back from right tackle to right guard, back to right tackle. So, John, you talked about it before a little bit, but again, speak to that difficulty. And then, Rueben, you can talk just from a guard standpoint, the difficulty of switching back and forth. So, John, you go first.
Well, for me, it would have been impossible. I mean, I played left tackle for 2 years in college, and then I was always on the left side. So anytime I had to line up, when I went to Arizona, then I was a swing tackle, and I'm getting in a right-handed stance, and I'm like, oh, forget this. I mean, I felt like a jigsaw puzzle dumped out onto the floor. I couldn't put it together. I had no idea. And, I had spent so much time, and, Rueben and I, when in training camp, we talk about this. I had everything down on the left side. So I think if you are a true swing guy early on, you can maintain that skill set. Like Glenn Parker came in and he bounced through the line, every position but center.
Right.
And if you are taking those reps over and over, if you're getting them in training camp at full speed and not just trying to come off the bench at either tackle, I think you're more adept at doing so. For me, it would have been a disaster. And it was almost better that I got blowed up in Arizona on my third play at right tackle, because I was probably going to get destroyed anyway. Rueben, what's your take on that?
Right. I agree. In order to be a good swingman, it has to already be in your repertoire
Mm.
coming into the NFL. You have to already have that exposure. I myself, when I first went to Chicago, I really wanted to. I thought I wanted to change my whole thing. I didn't want to wear the same number. I'm not the Rueben Brown in Buffalo. I want to be a different Rueben Brown, and I'm gonna go try to play right guard. And right guard was nothing like left guard. Left guard, like John said, I
It's
was
only this far
I
away.
had spent so many yeah, I'm like, what the hell is going on here? Because I spent so much time perfecting being on the left side. I had all the skill, the technique, the little intricacies that a swingman definitely would not have all of these abilities to be a little intricate at each position. They're just moving from position to position.
Yeah.
Whereas once you're settled into that's your spot, now you find out all the little ins and outs of that particular spot. Olin Kreutz was funny. We were in Chicago. I tried to play right guard. I went through camp as right guard, and they actually were thinking about cutting me
Mm.
until Olin Kreutz comes up to me and he's like, why aren't you playing left? I was like, oh, that's old. I'm trying to put that behind me. He's like, well, someone just got hurt. Why don't you give a couple snaps? I said, oh, I can do that. Don't worry about it. He's like, no, just give us a couple snaps at it. I go in, I do like 2 snaps. Olin goes to the coach. He's like, play him at left guard.
Yeah.
It's like, forget right. What is he thinking? Play him at left. He is a left. So
I think the biggest difference
You get
is when you're in your stance, you are able to just change the weighting on your
Yeah.
feet and on your hand, so you
Yes.
can you can move your right foot first or your left foot first with just the tiniest little weight distributions, and then you get that other hand down, the other foot
Yes.
up, and you don't have that. It's like almost like a feeling with the
Right.
ground, and it's like from the top of your head
Yes.
down through your feet. There's a comfort level and just a little bit of
Mhm.
movement one way or another, and you can do whatever you want.
Yeah.
It's funny that you
Now,
mentioned.
I would say it's easier probably for a lineman like a guard to probably move into center
Mm.
from either side, whether it be right guard or left guard. And if you go into center, just because of how the stance is and how it works and where you're situated in the line. But when you're starting to go from left guard or tackle and you want to go and play right, it's a whole another
Yeah.
ball game. It's not the same. And people can try to say it is, but it's a special skill if a guy can actually do both.
Yeah, John was talking about the weight distribution as far as like feeling the weight on your heels or whatever. And it's funny because a lot of people don't probably remember this or know this, but Ralph Wilson Stadium back in the day, Rich Stadium had a huge crown on the field. So literally you were kind of leaning in one direction depending on where you were lined up. Would you both make it to say maybe it's similar to switch hitting? Like if you're a right-handed batter and you bat right-handed, it just feels natural.
Mhm.
Like if you're trying to hit a curveball, you wait for the break of the
Right.
ball, like just hand-eye coordination. And then when you pick up a left, like just bat lefty, it's like, I don't know what to do with this thing. Where some people just naturally right-handed,
Yeah,
left-handed. can do it
I
both
would
ways.
say for the listeners out there. So when I moved to the offensive line, they put me at left tackle in college. I was like, I don't even know what this arm does half the time.
Right.
So I taught myself how to
Yeah,
juggle.
yeah.
I started brushing my teeth with my left hand, brushing my hair, combing my hair with my
Right.
left hand. I'd encourage or eating with my left. Everybody out there who thinks it's so easy, just switch something that you automatically do with your dominant hand to your other hand, and you just you feel like you're a stranger to yourself.
Yeah. So let's do this. Let's move on to current Buffalo Bills talk. Now, Ruben, we're gonna hang on to you for the rest of the show, which is about another 30 minutes, and we're gonna talk about the Buffalo Bills. And our general script is we talk about what our expectations were for this particular game, the good from the game, the bad from the game, and then kind of where we go from here. Now, I don't expect you to have expectations from this game. So the question I want to ask you first is, from an expectation, what was your expectations of this Bills team coming into the season? versus kind of what we're getting, if that makes sense?
Ooh. I was I was believing the hype. And each year for the Buffalo Bills, I get a little nervous because the excitement in Buffalo is skyrocket every year. It shoots to the top every year. The season, the first game, it's like we're going all the way. I'm like, hey guys, yeah, let's But this season, I'm like, these are number one contenders. They have to come in and just dominate because they're that team. They were that close last year. They have a lot, and they added a lot. So they are that team this year. That's what I was feeling. I felt like they would be the front runners all year in the AFC East. They would handle, people like the Patriots and such. But that hasn't been the case. Oh wow! Look at that. There's another Fina. Oh my goodness.
Mimi, say hi
Which
to
Fina
Ruben.
is that? Hold on.
It's
Mimi.
It's a pretty Fina.
How you doing, Mimi? Wow, you're an adult.
Yeah, right.
Wow, that's
Yeah.
so cool, John. You have an adult next to you that used to be a little baby.
Yeah, you remember.
I don't mean to embarrass you right now because I saw you as a baby. You're an adult. Oh my God, isn't that something?
Hey, Ruben, dovetailing on what you just said, I was thinking about it. The excitement around the team this year, whether they make it to the playoffs or don't make it, whether they go to the championship game or not, what a cool feeling for Buffalo and the Buffalo Bills fans after. I mean, the drought's ridiculous. So to come into the season with this hype and this expectation, even if they fall short, I mean, we're always grasping for joy in our life, for something to get excited about.
Yeah.
So that part is nice. I mean, for 15, 17 years after we left, it's just been, I can't imagine.
Right.
You're making that stroke for the season's tickets every year, and you're like, oh my God, what am I doing?
Yeah,
I could have bought a car. I could have bought a new couch.
Yeah.
That's funny.
That's a testament to the Bills fans. They really are a good group of fans. I talk to a lot of my friends that travel to the different stadiums around the league. You can go to Pittsburgh, you can go to New England and stuff, but you don't get the hospitality and the excitement that you get in the Buffalo Bills stadium. A lot of the other stadiums look very unfriendly to outside guests. They really want their own fans and such. But the Bills are all about a party and a good time, and they really want to see their team be competitive. Yeah, well, that's a little.
As long as the Panther
depending
fans
on what
behave,
time
we'll
Mr.
be nice.
Right. It depends on what time Mr. Alcohol shows up.
Right.
We saw that guy
if
in
he
his
shows
underwear
up
at
too
the
early,
game.
then it can get crazy.
Right.
Yeah.
So,
But
go ahead.
overall, the excitement in Buffalo is always good. It's always high. There's always a high expectation, regardless of the success of the team or not. The Bills fans really drive that whole thing.
Love it. So transitioning now to this game, and I'll go first as far as what I kind of thought was the good from this game. And my first really good piece is Gabriel Davis. For me, I said this on the show last night, the overreaction show. We love Emmanuel Sanders, and I don't think there's a person that's going to talk about like Gabriel Davis at this point being better than Emmanuel Sanders, even with this probably being Emmanuel's last season as a professional football player. But this offense just looks different and runs different with that big body, that presence that Gabriel Davis has, because all the other guys are not as big as him. So there's a physicality that he brings to this offense that I don't think the other ones do. Another one, Devin Singletary. I was really pleased with Devin Singletary. The Buffalo Bills have gone out of their way to basically tell Devin Singletary that he's not the guy. Drafting Zach Moss year 2, bringing in Matt Breida, benching him at times, but the dude just keeps coming to work, and I appreciate that about him. And then, I mean, what can you say about F.A. Obata, who hasn't had much of a chance this year? He just really shined on the defense. So those were for me the good things. John, what were your kind of quick thought good things from this game?
Well, I'll echo the same, but I'll take a little different take on it. I don't think drafting Zach Moss was a slap in the face to Devin Singletary. I think there was still a little bit of a void. This is the philosophy of this staff, is to rotate guys, put some guys on the bench and put a little pressure on. Maybe, something clicked. I noticed they ran a little interior trap in this last game, and maybe it works pretty well for Motor. I like his energy. Philosophically, our run game is a little upside down and sideways, So I struggle to think that any one of these running backs as a featured back is going to do really well, because I just don't know what their identity is as a running team. I liked F.A. Obata. I thought he did extremely well. I've been kind of wondering where he's been. The same with Basham, where he's been. My take right now is we need more from the front four. They played pretty well this game, but beating Carolina, I don't know.
Right.
I'm just not thrilled. And they did some stuff to us defensively in the first quarter that shook us a little bit.
Yep.
And I keep saying that this team is not a great comeback team. We need to start fast in this. We got to get the engine revving early,
right?
Because we tend to have either lose our identity, and we don't have like a dedicated plan for the first couple of drives when things go south. So I guess I wove in the bad with the good, but I think things are kind of pointing in the right direction.
What did you find good about this football game, the Bills Carolina Panthers game, Ruben?
I'm nervous. I'm very nervous about the Bills. The good I took away from it, they won the game. That's the good.
That's the good.
Other than
that's good enough, right?
I honestly, really, a lot of people don't realize how really tough it is to beat a bad team in the NFL.
Right?
You think it's easy to beat a bad team? It's not that easy.
It's so hard to win a game.
It is hard to win games, baby. I'm telling you, you just don't know. It's surprising that more teams don't go winless. Because it is very tough to win a game. That being said, that's the good part. I'm glad they won the game. But at the end of the day, if anyone knows me or have heard me on any shows, talk, radio, my entire life, all I talk about is run. Run the damn ball.
You're talking to the right guy, because we have a run denier in our midst.
I'm not a run denier.
Go on, Ruben, go on. Lay it on.
Listen, John will tell you, if you're going to be a championship team, you have to be a dominant run team, or effective. You don't have to smash people, but you have to be effective running the ball consistently in the late part of the season, which is now.
Agreed.
Now's the time. Agreed. All right. And I don't believe the Buffalo Bills at any time this year or even last year has a commitment to establishing run. They have some run plays. They throw them in there here and there, but they're not committed. They're not a run team. And that's going to catch up to them in the end when, all of the other schemes, to throwing the balls to the receivers, and the receivers don't catch the ball and drop it and whatever, in pass interference and all of these different possibilities that can go when you're trying to get 10, 12, 13, 14 yards, opposed to running the ball and getting 2-3 yards here and there and making the pass very easy for you, or a short scramble. Our quarterback can run with the best, and give them 3rd and 4. Give them 3rd and 5. Give them 3rd and 6. Give them 3rd and 7. And you know how you get that? You run the ball.
So
that's one thing they haven't done.
I got called out by John Fina, by your guy, your left tackle, Ruben. I got called out by your left tackle. So I'm not at all a run denier. I'm a run pessimist as it pertains to this football team. And the reason is because of Josh Allen. Josh Allen is a guy that can throw the football around the yard, but it gets multiplied for me because they are awful at running the football. Not only to John's point a couple minutes ago about philosophically trying to figure out who they are. Like they haven't found a scheme they like. Are they going to be pin and pull? Are they going to be a wide zone? They've got Singletary, who's different than Moss, who's different than Breida. They can't put, and they run them all like in each other's schemes. Like the whole thing is just strange. And then what do they do in that game? You watched that game yesterday. 6 or 7 times on 2nd and long, they run the ball. And they didn't get any yardage out of it. And it's like what situational football tells you at 2nd and long, I don't care if the box has 6 people in it. Don't run it. Like if you can't run it, don't. And that, so I'm not a run denier. If we had pick a guy, a Naheem Hines, give me a guy. I don't even need a superstar, but if you had a Dalvin Cook, if you had one of these guys, right? Clyde Edwards-Helaire or one of these dudes that are like super duper good. Yes. Let's run the ball a lot. Let's protect Josh Allen. Let him, but until we get that guy, which we don't have, or some semblance of an identity to establish a run, for me, this football team, this offense is the best when they are running in an up-tempo format and the ball's coming out quick. And Josh still gets his deep passes when they're running up-tempo and the ball's coming out quick. They are not good when they run the ball, and they're not good when Josh is dropping 11 yards behind the line of scrimmage, which John talks about all the time. When he's holding the ball, they are not good. You're muted, John. You're muted, John.
Well, I'll tell you.
I'm muted because the damn dog was barking.
Every offense in the NFL wants to run quick, get the ball out of their hand really fast. That's the only way any of them are successful. A la, the GOAT right now. He's laid the foundation for what everyone needs to kind of follow. Get rid of the ball really quick, hand the ball off in certain situations. And those things are on the coordinator's shoulders more than than anything. The coordinator got to call the run plays, hands down. He has to call them when they need to be called and stuff like that. So that's number one when it comes to the run game. You just have to attempt runs. Sometimes you don't think that a 1-yard run or an attempt run, you just get those guys coming up, get them thinking about the run, and then that helps Josh with these other options of play action possibilities or getting the receivers getting behind the DBs so you can make those big nice passes that he's great at. I mean, we know he can throw the thing. He's got a cannon, but he needs some help. And that comes in the form of letting the offensive line, who's struggling mightily, push people instead of them playing basketball and just getting in front of them or getting run over while they're trying to pass the ball. So good stuff. That's how I see it.
Got another super chat. This comes from Pamela. And Ruben, people love you. They're asking you all kinds of questions. So she says, Ruben, I've asked this question many times, but I'd like to hear your opinion. Fina, that's that guy right there, John Fina, gets mad at her whenever she's not positive. He gets mad at me as well. He's got a negativity ticker that he keeps on me whenever I'm being there it is. This team this year is the team. So this team this year is the team. We all agree. What do you think is going on? So what she's saying is just as you said, coming into this season, high aspirations, huge expectations, Super Bowl or bust. What do you think is going on? Why is this team they're 8-6, right? Why is this team 8-6 right now?
We don't have enough of a running game to complement Josh, hands down. We're enamored with all of our passing possibilities and great receivers and stuff. So look, Knox has emerged to be one of the best tight ends in the league. No one knew that at first. Right. No one knew. So let's try some of that over on the offense with the run game and help out our ailing offensive line. And then the second part, and this is going unnoticed because the Buffalo Bills defense is quietly one of the best defenses in the league, right? That's the case. But something's been showing up lately. We've been seeing the Bills get gashed. Obviously, the Colts running back is an amazing running back, and he's beating up on everybody. But we don't have enough going on up front from our front four on defense.
Right. Absolutely true.
I know those guys. There's some talent there, but we're not getting that really good front four presence. The DBs are great. The linebackers playing their butts off. But that's the missing piece to the puzzle. And what do they always say, John? The game starts up front, right?
Yeah.
With the line.
I would agree. I think our front four has got to just deliver a little bit more. I'm noticing, Ruben, I know I point this out in our text thread earlier. I'm just not appreciating their get off on 3rd and long, obvious passing situations. I was saying last week, as an offensive lineman, you want a guy running straight into you and giving you your whole chest, give you the frame of the body. Guys that were really hard were the guys that got skinny fast and got low, and on 3rd and long or 2nd and long, obvious passing downs. I don't know what it is. I mean, we're not spying on all of these quarterbacks. We got to get half a man and get some penetration.
Yeah, it's super good. Super good. Here's a question for both of you.
Definitely. We got to get people up there.
Yeah. How much would an up-tempo offense help the running game? Does it help it, and would it help this offense? The running game.
Who's first, Ruben, me or you?
I don't think up-tempo. I'll go, but I don't think going up-tempo will do anything. It's just the attempts. Really, you just don't understand the effectiveness of actually attempting the runs.
Gotcha.
If you start early and you're only getting 1 yard or 2 yards, or you making it back to the line of scrimmage, that's just as effective, because I'll take you guys back to the days of Thurman Thomas, right? And did any of you guys play the video game with Thurman Thomas back in the day?
Tecmo.
Sega or
Tecmo.
any of those
Tecmo, yes.
All right.
Yeah.
All right.
Or NFL. Sega NFL.
You guys are totally. So this was the MO. Every team had an MO. And the MO for the Buffalo Bills, if you played with them on the video game, Thurman Thomas came alive in the 4th quarter. But you would have to try to run with him in the first half.
That's right.
All right.
Right.
But by the time the 3rd quarter and the 4th quarter came along, if you had been running Thurman was going to kill you. You know what I mean? So that's the philosophy that you have to take going into every game. Let's start the game. All right, the 1st quarter, we only got 2, 3, 4, 5 yards. All right, we got nowhere. But come 4th quarter, we're going to run those same plays. Next thing you know, he's in the end zone. You know what I mean? So you have to attempt.
Yeah. My answer to that question is we have too many formations and too much motion. We can't. I mean, it's not the DNA of that offense. I mean, we're running these funky little circular motions where the receiver runs past Josh and flips around and runs the run the other way, and you're not going to be able to incorporate that and do a hurry up. I mean, you certainly, I'm certain that they have a hurry up package. Obviously, you got to do that for a 2-minute drill. Yeah. But that's usually not run heavy, and it's not focused on getting sequential first downs. Multiple first downs in a series. So I don't see it. I don't think it helps either.
So we are already, ladies and gentlemen, you're tuned into the Off Tackle with John Fina show, brought to you by Q42 on the Buffalo Rumblings vidcast and podcast network, with our special guest, Rueben Brown, former Buffalo Bill, hopefully potential future Hall of Famer, Buffalo Bill and Chicago Bear. So we've already kind of been talking about the work, which is the takeaways from the game. We don't like to, John and I don't like to call it the bad. So we have the good from the game. We don't like to call it the bad. So we call it the work. What needs work? And this is the question that I have for both of you as it pertains to the offensive line. We've been talking offensive line. We've been talking defensive line. We've been talking run game. Yesterday, we saw a little bit of Josh Allen that we haven't seen, maybe because of his injury, maybe because of just the situation with the guys up front. complete patchwork offensive line outside of Mitch Morse in the middle, right? Which was, he was chucking the ball in the dirt. We saw him throw the ball at the ground more than I think we've seen him throw the ball at the ground in 6 game stretches. He threw the ball at the ground a lot. As an offensive lineman, when things aren't going well, if you've got a guy behind you, Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, Tyrod Taylor, any of these guys, Lamar Jackson, that can escape and elude and then get out to the right or left and throw like hero balls down the field, and you're just watching this guy and you're like, he's a magician. And it almost, not that it doesn't matter as much, but like he's a superstar, versus the message it sends when the quarterback literally can't do anything but throw the ball straight to the ground. Does that send a message to the offensive line at all? Or is it more of just, it is what it is?
Well, I'll take that one. I watched it and I thought that those were great plays by Josh. Those were situational screens. The one where people got their thongs in a knot about Spencer Brown and the sack in the first quarter, that was a screen, and it wasn't even Spencer's guy. That was a 3 technique. The guard let him go because he was going out in the screen. Josh, that was an opportunity. It might have been the signal for him. I took a sack. I could have thrown it out of bounds.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I look at that as a great development opportunity. If a play's dead, you're better off dumping it than forcing it.
Yeah. What about you, Ruben?
There you go. That's true. I feel the same way. There's only so much the quarterback can do, and each play has its ceiling. And you have to know when to not try to extend too much. Then you get in danger of turning the ball over and stuff like that. So he's being smart. He's way smarter quarterback than he has been in the past years. Obviously still a young guy, but he's showing a lot of maturity and knowing when to get rid of the ball and dump it and take, sometimes there might be a time when you have to take a sack, just like an offensive lineman. Like for me, I'd hold somebody just because I'm like, all right, this is I got to hold this guy.
Yeah.
I'm not going to let him hit my quarterback,
Right.
Those types of things come up,
At least you had that chance, right? Sometimes they beat you clean. Oh, no.
Yeah, sometimes.
Sometimes that's a lookout
so
block. Look out!
Yeah. Hey, Doc, he's coming in hot. so, I mean, if you can hold him, you should hold him. I put it to you that way.
So
I know a lot of people get upset about holding.
Where is the line? Sorry, there's somebody that got a block on.
Yeah, get that guy out of there. That's disgusting.
So I don't know how to, so Richard Rush is on it. Richard Rush is on it. Thank you, Richard.
Thank you, Richard.
So where is the line between, Ruben, you said that, you can't expect your quarterback to do everything, or he can't do too much. There's a point. Where's the line with a guy like Josh Allen? Because the reality is he's not going to be this Josh Allen forever. The days are going to come where his body begins to feel it a little bit too. He's going to get a little bit older. He's going to get a little bit fatter, a little bit denser, right?
Yeah, you say that. Hey, wait, you say that, but Tom Brady is like 75 years old.
Yeah, but he can't move either.
Yeah.
Well, he still moves okay.
Yeah, that's true. He can't.
I don't know. I mean,
it's solid.
I think Ruben said something really smart right there, and it's that timing. How long can I extend the play? And that's going to continue to contract for Josh, and he's going to get a better feel of it there. And we talked about the hype for this team. Sometimes that hype translates into I got to do more. But it's not Josh Allen that's hurting us. We've had, you talk about the work, right? Get healthy, stay healthy. Number one, you want to go into the playoffs, you got to get healthy, stay healthy. Our defensive line has to get free. We have to get free up front and get pressure. That's it. We have to, with a 4-man rush. We need to be assignment perfect. And I'm talking more along the lines of offensive line play, blocking tight ends, blocking receivers. You can be assignment perfect. It is not a myth. You can do it. You can go an entire game and not screw up an assignment. And the last thing for me is, damn, we get some dog-ass penalties at the wrong time. I mean, hail. And Ruben, I don't know if you saw this stat. Somebody way smarter than me threw this stat up during the week. every 27.6 times Aaron Rodgers throws the ball, he gets a PI.
Yep.
You know how many times it takes Josh to throw the ball before he gets a PI? 82.
How many?
Wow. 82.
82.
Oh, wow.
That's crazy.
Wow.
So we got to play cleaner and we got to eliminate penalties.
This is a great question as we're talking about the things that need work. The Mafia yesterday and a little bit today were very much up in arms about Spencer Brown's play. Now, we've already established going from right to left is not easy. He's never been a left tackle. I think he experimented when he was in college and was like, left tackle's not for me. But he ended up, at the right side. What are your guys'
He had
thoughts?
to play. He had to do it.
Ruben, you can go first. Just from at first blush, what were your thoughts? Obviously, just on Spencer Brown's play yesterday.
Well, when I saw him over on the left side, I knew it was going to be tough for him. I mean, NFL. I mean, come on, this is not college. You're not playing the Sisters of the Poor over there. You're playing some bad mamma jammas that's lined up in front of him. So he had a difficult job. He's a rookie, and everything's against him in this situation, honestly.
Right.
I mean, I don't know what the fuck the Bills expect from him. I mean, he's like the guy that they're like, okay, now go out there and save us. He's like, wait a minute, I don't have a gun. So, but if I critique him, I give him a critique, and I'm gonna critique him as a lineman that I seen him play over on the right side also. Mm-hmm. Spencer has a tendency to just kind of lock on the guys and not use his feet. He does whenever he engages. He likes to muscle guys, and maybe torque them and, use that as leverage because he's a tall guy, he's a strong guy.
Yeah.
But he does not bend his knees enough, nor does he move his feet enough upon engagement. He gets flat-footed a little bit, and that's when he opens the gate. John knows what that means. He'll open up, and that makes it easier for penetration and things like that.
Gotcha. John?
All right, I'm going to go a little different route on this because I'm looking at a guy on the screen right now who started as a rookie and might have had a couple of holding penalties in his rookie season, like a few.
They're all subjective,
but
holding is subjective.
But the trade was Ruben is a high energy guy. Spencer's a high energy guy. He is going to clean up the pile. He is going to be a rah HUD guy. That's a future star. That's it, flat out future star. Yeah, I go. Ruben went with the lower body. I talk a little bit more about his upper body. He has a great ability to get his hands in the right position on his pass sets, but he's not confident in his timing. He's got to strike the inside shoulder, and he's right here. He's ready. And remember this move, Ruben? The circle.
Yeah.
The envelope, right? I want to see him get that hand straight up. And he's a little tentative on it. Hands are in a great spot. Time it, shoot them. And then if your feet are right, going back to what you said, if you're going to extend and your balance is good, your feet are right, you can still recover on a miss.
Super good.
But he's a future star. Love it. He's great energy.
I think he is a stud. I think he's a stud.
Got on the super chat here from Randy Prokes. Randy, thank you so much for being a part of the show. Been a Bills fan for many years, was there at Super Bowl 27 and 28, and respect your knowledge. Are we using Edmonds at his best position as a middle linebacker, which he's not a middle linebacker, or would he be better as more of an edge rusher? He is good. Could he be great if the Bills chose to use him differently? That's a great question. Anybody?
No.
I don't think so. I think he's where he needs to be.
Yeah,
I think he really is. He's where he needs to be.
If you remove him, who takes that spot? Who has the range? Who can do what he does? You trade to a position where we don't even know what he can do with his hand on the ground and press the edge on a tackle. When we have guys who are supposedly specializing in that, so we can't take we can't take Hughes and put him at his position, right? We can't take Rousseau and drop him back. So no, I don't see that. I think it's a
I agree.
The hard part about the Edmonds situation, as far as in the understanding, is he's as much as he's listed as a middle linebacker, he's not. Him and Milano pretty much play the same thing. Edmonds just calls the plays. And if you're going to move him to the edge, then you're kind of playing a 3-4 scheme where he's playing standing up, and we don't play a 3-4. We play a hybrid 4-2. So I agree with you. I don't know that it's necessarily doable, but
and I don't think he's performing badly. I said it on the last show, Ruben. I mean, if you were reincarnated and had to come back and play football now, the last position I would want to play is linebacker.
Right.
You got to fill, you've got to fly. I mean, you have to be like a
you have
to be an 800-pound deer. It's crazy.
That's an elk, John. An 800-pound
right?
deer is an elk.
No thanks, man. I just it's so hard to look good doing what he has to do.
If I were to come back and be a linebacker in the NFL, I want to be LeVon Kirkland.
Yeah, but they don't play that game anymore. That game is past us.
Right, for sure.
Listen, LeVon Kirkland was 290-pound linebacker. Think about that.
Yeah, but he wasn't covering guys on a wheel route.
I think Urlacher. I think you played. Ruben, did you play with Urlacher?
Yes, I played with Urlacher.
He's 6'5", 6'6". He had to be up like 270, 275, right? He was a big old boy.
Actually,
245,
no, he was probably
250.
250, 260. Yeah, he was a stud. He was a one of a kind freak of nature.
Absolutely.
Know. Yeah. There's never going to be another Brian Urlacher. He's one of a kind.
No, for sure. Well, we're getting long in the
his hands down.
We're getting long in the tooth on the show, so let's do this. Let's wrap it up with this last question, which is, from your guys' opinions, what do the Buffalo Bills have to do this weekend to beat the New England Patriots in Foxborough, with the understanding that if they win, they're in first place for the AFC East? So they are leading the division if they win. So, Ruben, why don't you go first? What do you got for us as far as what do the Bills need to do against that football team?
Run the damn football. Plain and simple. I don't care which running back they choose. Run them all. There should be no less than 30 attempts at running the ball. And if you don't believe that you can do it, then don't come play. Because the Patriots did it to you the last time they came to town.
Yeah.
So turn it around and give it right back to them.
Gotcha.
Hand them what they gave you. Hand it right back to them.
Yeah, the Colts did it to him on this past weekend on Saturday night. John, what you got?
Yeah.
So Josh has got to have a carry in the first series or two for a 6-yard plus gain. They need to start fast. They need to score either a field goal or a touchdown on their first and second drive. So I say they got to go up. They got to score in their first two possessions, and they have to stop the run.
Yeah, it's super
They have to stop the run. And, Belichick and his kid and their O coordinator, they're going to have a plan. They're not going to run the same game plan. I can't imagine they will. And if they do, shame on us. We don't belong in the playoffs.
Yeah, I don't know if you guys were paying attention to the Browns-Raiders game, but the Browns had it in their hand. All they had to do was 14-13. All they had to do was close the game out, and they would have done the same thing the Bills are looking to do this weekend, which was leapfrog, right? They had leapfrogged and ended up taking the number one seed, at least for now, in the North. So, and then they let it slip away. But the Buffalo Bills had that opportunity this weekend. And had they done that, the Bills would have been knocked out of a playoff berth, so I was sitting on the couch sweating bullets a little bit.
Yeah, I was listening to it on the radio, and I freaking out when he had to kick the field goal twice.
Yep. Super good. So, but ladies and gentlemen, you have been tuned into the Off Tackle with John Fina show, brought to you by Q42 on the Buffalo Rumblings vidcast and podcast network. My name is Joe Miller, host of the show with John Fina and our special guest, Rueben Brown, former Buffalo Bill and Chicago Bear. Final thoughts, gentlemen. Anything that you want to say before we get out of this place? John, final thoughts?
Ruben, thanks for joining. And, you and I, we've gone through fits and starts of being connected over the years. And I got to tell you, my life is much fuller the more often we talk. So I'm going to keep calling you and keep texting you. We'll stay connected. And, I love you, brother. I mean, I really do. You mean everything in the world to me. So thanks for joining the show. And you're going to be in the Hall of Fame. And I'm going to be there and watch it happen. There are going to be tears coming down my cheeks.
Me too. Ruben?
We would definitely both be crying that happened. You stole my thunder. I was actually going to tell the world that I'm not ashamed to say I love a man. All right. I love that guy right there.
Nice.
John Fina. I call him Juan Fina.
Juan.
He's my homie.
Juan.
And always, that's my main man. And I love him to death. And I'm very happy to be here and tell the world that and enjoy this occasion with him and look forward to all the, future endeavors and things that we get into and staying connected because he really is a real deal, man. You guys only know a piece of this guy. He's the man. You got the right guy with you on the show to give people the proper insight on the game because he has the knowledge. I sat next to him and I constantly bugged him about all the information that he had in his head. I'm like constantly asking him about what about this? What about that? What about this? And he has the answers. He definitely does. He's a bright guy, and I'm very proud and happy to say he's my friend, a good friend.
Awesome. Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us. John, thank you for being here. Ruben, incredible, like super blessed just
Awesome.
for me to get to talk to you too. John, thank you for setting this up because I did not do this. So this is a treat, a big time treat. Obviously I've been a Bills fan my whole life. So this has been awesome, but it's Christmas week. So you guys enjoy your holiday. Everybody out there in Bills Mafia land and around the world, it's Christmas. Merry Christmas to everybody. Happy holidays. Spend some family time, take a minute, rest, and everybody be blessed. So we're going to go around the horn. Joe Miller for John, for Ruben, go Bills.
Merry Christmas, everyone.
Happy Christmas. Merry New Year.
Love you, brothers. Go Bills.
Give me a go Bills, Ruben.
Love you guys.
Give me a go Bills.
Let's go Buffalo.
That's it. That'll work.
Go Bills.